Hi there, Power here again. Um, I was thinking what to make the topic of my next video for a couple days, and I finally landed on compositions. Specifically speaking, this will be for like the most optimal compositions to run for um, Icecrown Citadel 25 for heroics especially. So sit tight, and we'll get to it. All right, here we go. So just a few notes on the why the composition is set up like that. Um, you've got a Shadow Priest in every group because Vampiric Embrace is party only. Um, you don't have to do the setup, but this is like when you're first starting out, you're doing heroics, you're taking a lot of damage, especially Bone Storm from Marogar, and there's several other things that just do a ton of damage. I'll talk about what you swap them out with afterwards. You've got two red bellies, especially for replenishment. Um, two is enough to just about cover the whole raid. Maybe one or two people won't have 100% uptime on it, but you don't really need to run three red bellies. Or at this point of the game, you're not really running with survival hunters either. And at this point of the game, ICC 25 Rogue, your priests are running tier 10 4 piece. So they're not going to be casting Mind Blast. So you need the two repellies for replenishment. You've got one feral DPS, and that's put up bleeds, so your rogues do more damage. Um, the rogues can have a few different specs, but the most commonly used one is two piece tier 10 with a whole bunch of offset pieces. And that spec uses bleeds, so one feral is pretty good. Um, you've got two fire mages as well in the setup. That's so they can DPS from Dalran, and it speeds up Lich King significantly. On when you go to the outer ring phase, um, the two fire mages stay on the boss. They can actually DPS, and still they don't take any damage from the AOE from around Lich King. Their range is like ridiculous. Um, one demo lock. That's for the stupid amazing spell power buff. And you'll notice there's only one lock in this whole thing. Um, but yeah, that spell power buff is amazing. Fully, fully buffed warlock or demo lock with you can be either set up. You can be set up two ways: selfish DPS or selfless DPS. It's good to be selfish DPS because you're not low DPS as a warlock. You're reasonable damage, so it's good to actually be set up as a selfish DPS. You do about maybe I don't know, like 20%, 30% more damage, something like that. Um, okay, unholy decay. You only need one unholy decay, and that's for the when diseases are on a target, you apply the thing that increases spell damage to the target by 12% or something. That can also be applied by the warlock, but it frees up the warlock having to cast curse of elements. The warlock can cast other curses like curse of tongues and shit like that, or Sendragosa, or for the Putricide 25 heroic ads. It's yeah, curse of tongues is very important on that, uh, especially for the oranges. Um, this setup has two boomies, and two boomies especially are um, very useful for a few different fights. One that they shine on is two boomies make Starfang Heroic easy mode. You cycle which one does Starfall um, on each set of ads. You don't do them at the same time. You cycle the boomies and they will do like top damage on ads. They'll be like at the end of the fight. If it's a fast run, it'll be like 350, half a million damage from each of the boomies on the ads. It just gets rid of them real quick. And of course, they pop their starfall when the ads move in and they typhoon them back. Also, boomies are real nice for um, cycloning mind control people on Lady Death Whisper. There's several other reasons. And their targets for Innovate is going to be the Bristol Shemi. The Bristol Shemi on some fights goes out of mana real quick. Real quick. What else? Two combat rogues. Yeah. So there's going to be two combat rogues and two marksman hunters. Obviously, for tricks of trade and misdirection. Um, two combat rogues specifically because um, combat does more damage, more burst damage, or more upfront damage to ads, and the hardest fights in the game, in Icebound Citadel, have a bunch of ads. So you're gonna have like the Valks, on Lich King, obviously. You're gonna have VDW ads. You're gonna have um, actually, if you're running this setup, you shouldn't need the melee to switch to the ads on Sourfang. But if they don't pick up aggro, they can still switch and help kill them down. There's a couple other reasons why combat's just better. Um, oh yeah, Peter side ads. They do a lot more upfront damage. So um, yeah, if you're assassination, that sucks to be switching to ads all the time. But combat doesn't really care. Um, Syndragosa, every time you attack her, you get a debuff. Assassination attacks real fucking fast, so it stacks that debuff so quick. Combat stacks it as well, but it doesn't feel as useless. You don't stack it so fast that you just have to stop DPS so often. Combat just feels more or less like a red belly in this situation. Um, so yeah, that's the two combat roads. Um, and I'll explain a little bit in a second. I guess marksman hunters are going to be for mostly useful. Well, they're useful for everything. They're gonna probably be your top damage on spikes on Merogar. They're gonna be uh, they're gonna be MDs for the ads on Lady Death Whisper. Um, on Sourfang, they do a lot of damage to the ads, and they drop their traps on the just before the ads are about to spawn. They'll drop their fire trap and snake trap and slow trap as well, and then they'll back the fuck off. You'll have two hunters, one on either side of the boss, and they'll when the ads are about to spawn, they'll walk in, they'll drop their traps, and then they'll disengage and be out at range again. So when the ads spawn, they'll have like tons of snakes, fire traps going off, and being slowed by the frost aura trap, and then they'll of course help to DPS them down. Um, what else? Um, they're really good for getting rid of the Peter side ads as well. Just a lot of damage. Um, there's a trick you can do with a hunter. You can, if you're an engineer, you can, if you go next to someone that's just died, like stand on top of them and feign death and use your engineering knife thing to res them, because it actually does take you out of combat, so you can res someone. That's the only way like a hunter can. Well, rogues can also sort of do it too, but I don't know. It's just so much easier on a hunter. Anyway, um, VDW, you need um, two hunters. You can sort of do it with one, but it just gets a little really hard sometimes. The blistering zombies, especially, have to be kited. You can't melee can't go and attack them. So I'm specifically talking about Herog. Melee can't go and attack them. When they explode, they do like a big chunk of damage. Plus, they leave a huge poison dot on you. So that's enough to kill like most melees if they're around the blistering will and die. Um, and marksmen. Oof. Marksmen are essential on Lich King for obviously for tanking the big zombies for emptying the raging spirits and for clearing out the uh, I forget the name of the wicked spirits, I think, inside the Frostmourne chamber. So yeah, um, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Two Fury Warriors. Yep. So you're gonna want two Fury Warriors, because they stack Sunders faster because there's two of them. Um, you can have like the lower DPS warrior stack the Sunders and the high DPS warrior just DPS, but it helps the whole raid out if both people do two Sunders each, and then whoever has the last Sunder just to get the five stack up. Um, it it actually adds damage. I forget exactly how, but um, it's good to have it up on every boss. Except for there's a few scenarios I can't remember right now, but there's a couple of targets you don't actually like. There's no point in Sunring because you're gonna be throwing fucking Shattering Throw. So you don't stack Sunder, you just throw Shattering Throw. Oh, um, oh wait, I think it does actually stack with it. Pewter side. The A bomb does like a Sunder armor effect, so you don't Sunder Pewter side. So it's one of those. Holy Pally. Holy Pally is amazing. That does huge heals, but the biggest benefit to having a Holy Pally is gonna be Divine Sacrifice. You're gonna have two Divine Sacrifices in this setup, and you're gonna rotate them between the main tank and or the off tank and the Holy Pally. They're just gonna rotate them. Disc Beast, because those bubbles make it so that you're more or less twice the health. Um, Full spell power buff from Demo Lock inside ICC with ICC buff if you have it. Plus you have like 4K plus spell power. Each bubble's like 30 to 40,000 health, and that's roughly how much DPS have in health anyway. So you're doubling everybody's health just by having a Disc Priest. Also, it's another tank cooldown. The you know, I forget the name right now. Too much to think about. There's a trick. There's a trick you can do with this priest to get all your mana back, and it's very useful on the longest coincidentally fight in ICC, and that is Infest. Um, if you read the tooltip for getting mana back on when uh, your bubble breaks, it's a cooldown, but if it gets triggered on multiple people at the same time, you get percentage mana back from each of those people because they all got triggered at the same time. It didn't, triggered from one at the cooldown for the others. Um, so what you're supposed to do is, um, if you have like a Boomy that just Starfold and he's got aggro from small ghouls, you don't bubble him. You'll bubble everybody who is not taking damage currently. And when Infest goes out, all those people you bubbled, maybe it's like 10, 15 people, 3% mana back from each person, like half your mana pullback. Um, Nearly. Um, oh yeah, and Resto Shaman for Bloodlust. And someone to ask for innovates. You're gonna have two innovates for him? Or maybe even three if you might occasionally ask the Pharaoh to pop out and throw an innovate on. But yeah, generally they'll have to. Okay, back to it. So your group one, um, obviously is gonna be the two tanks. Your Feral, your Unholy, and Shadow Priest. Um, Shadow Priest, obviously, because the Vampire Embrace is party only, so you're gonna have an extra set of passive heals for the tank. And the Feral can't really self heal, and well, the Unholy DK can. So in this case, you can swap the Unholy DK with like a I don't know, a Rogue or a Fury Warrior. Yeah. Group two combat rogues, two Fury Warriors, and one Shadow Priest. Um, yeah. Um, we talked about why you need to combat rogues, so Yeah. Oh, there's another trick down here. I'll talk about it after. I might as well cover it now. Um, Piercing Howl is amazing for Valks. You're gonna have a lot of effects going on the Valks in Lich King. Frost Aura traps, uh, piercing howls. Um, Rogue's kind of exactly cheap shot. I think you have to be out of combat and all that shit, and you just boss pulse brings you back into combat, so you can't really do that. But yeah, so piercing howl. If you've got two Fury Warriors, um, you got more chance that you're not gonna have both of them grabbed, so you're gonna have at least one piercing hollow. So that's pretty much the point of that. And the reason why Fury Warriors are you want to again is um, they do a lot of ad damage, a lot of upfront, a lot of burst damage for ads. Cleave and Woven, yeah. You're supposed to pop your haste spot when the Valks come out, and you at the same time when the Valks come out, you'll have the two rogues use tricks of trade on the two Fury Warriors. You'll appoint who does it to who, and the Fury Warriors will do a lot more damage. They should at this point also be having armor potion rolling, um, and you pop the haste potion right at the moment when you need to. So yeah, you can actually pre-pot armor pot, and um, if you want to, you can pre-pot armor pot, wait until the 4 minutes is up, and pop another one. And you have it for 8 minutes, or you pre-pot armor pot, wait for Valks to come out, pop a haste spot so you can kill them faster, and you'll get tricks of trade at the same time, etc. And the tank will pop a hysteria on one of the Fury Warriors, whoever the top Fury Warrior happens to be, or a rogue. If a rogue is doing amazing, he'll pop a hysteria on a rogue. What was I? Shadow Priest, because the rogues on the Fury Warriors can sort of self heal with the Bloodthirst, but it's not reliable. Group 3 does not have a Shadow Priest because it's got two boomies that have bark skin. So that's a very short cooldown. They take lower damage. And in any case, since you've got the mainly non healing groups covered by, Shadow Priests, the rest of the Druid can focus more on the range groups. The reason why just because the the wild growth is group, like entire group, no matter where they are. If they're in range, so if they're spread out all over the arena, it'll get them all. So if one boomy's on one side and the other boomy's on the other side of the arena, the wild growth will get both of them. The reason the two reptiles are in here is just because Demo Lock can self heal with life drain, but you know you need some place to put them anyway. Um, Group 4: Fire Mage, Marksman Hunter, Shadow Priest. Um, there's an alternative. If your healers are super skilled, geared, and comfortable with the fights, you don't have to run with so many Shadow Priests. You can actually throw in more Fire Mages. The reason you throw in more Fire Mages is so you can speed run Lich King. Fire Mages speed up Lich King so fast. They can just DPS the whole time. They don't have to stop DPS on the boss. And they actually have to pop invisibility when the outer ring phase ends, because they'll have too much aggro. So like the group runs out to the outside, Fire Mages stay DPSing on the boss the whole time, and they have to invis as they run in. Otherwise, yeah, the boss will slap them. That's how it works. So you can kind of get rid of like one, two. Um, it's always good to have two shadow priests no matter what. Um, because the divine hymn was it? The one that gives you mana back. You're gonna be using it on rotation. So you're gonna have on the first outer ring phase, one shadow priest is gonna pop divine hymn. When it ends, the other shadow priest is gonna pop it. so the whole raid gets a lot of mana back. And then because the fight's so long, you'll actually get a second use out of it from both. Both Shadow Priests will get 2 uses of Divine Hymn. The two classes you would replace your other two Shadow Priests is of course going to be Fire Mages. You can speed up Lich King even more, and they're safe DPS for most bosses from anywhere in the arena. They're just huge range, so yeah, speeds things up. Your I was talking about yeah. So Holy Pally, Disc Priest, Resto Druid. Resto Druid is actually an amazing healer. Um, you can actually solo heal ICC 25 heroic um, on a Resto Druid. It's not easy, but it's been done. It's been done several times. Um, obviously, it's very stressful, and you don't want to be doing it all the time. But if you're like super end game, super skilled players, you might want to try that out. The Resto Druid, because they don't run out of mana. You're never gonna need to. Maybe you'll innovate yourself, but you might not have to. Yeah. Resto Shamans are actually humongous heals. They do run out of mana though, just because of how fast they cast. They just spam out all their mana, and then they just. However much mana you can get on a Resto Shemi is how much heals you can put out. You're supposed to be gemming for pure haste, so your chain heal ends up being like 1 second or something like that. That's including the latency bar, etc. Um, and sorry, yeah, the last Shadow Priest. So yeah, you always want to have two Shadow Priests, always. Um, the other two you can sort of swap out for Fire Mages, but the rest of the group is more or less set in stone. Um, Feral Tank is really good, but having the Divine Sacrifice from one Pally Tank and dual Aura from the Blood Decay Tank um, is going to be amazing. Well, you don't need like you can sort of do it with a tank. So we'll just say this one feral tank, and this one instead of blood decay tank, you can go frost decay DPS, and then you still have your bleeds covered from the feral tank, and your frost decay DPS still has icy talons for the raid. Your AP is covered by the marksman hunters for the AP buff. So this is something else you can do too. Um, but I don't know, like Blood Decay can pull off some bullshit. He can put the I forget what it's called right now. So the mark that whenever the boss attacks you heals you. Um, it's huge. They just got like so much health to them and so much self healing that the healers are not really stressed. If you are running this one heal comp, then you're gonna want to have a Blood Decay thing. Um, because a lot of self healing. Yeah. So rune tap with like improved rune tap will give you like 20k, 30k, or yeah, maybe even like 40k if it's full end game and you got like the ICC buff that's ticked over a few weeks, 20% up to 30%. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think that covers that. Um, don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it. Comment on what you want me to talk about next. I can talk about almost anything. If it's ICC related, um, I probably know it inside out. I maybe gotta think about it for a little bit to remember it because I don't do it every day. Actually, I don't do it that much lately because I just sort of haven't got the time to write. But I still remember it. I just gotta think about it. So, yep, the this would be the most successful um, sort of group that I've run with has been uh, Blood Tank, Feral DPS, well, and our Feral DPS have always been amazing. We did not run the Shadow Priest in every group, even though the times we did, the healers fell asleep, so we didn't do that. But it was Fire Mage. And Fire Mage. And that is the most successful Lich King 25 heroic, ICC 25 heroic run you're gonna have. You can even swap out, like, obviously later on, you can swap the rest of. You don't want to swap the rest of Shaman, you actually want to swap the rest of Druid for another Fire Mage. And, well, bam! This group has 5 Fire Mages. One whole group of Fire Mages. They can speed up the whole raid so much. Yeah, it's amazing. Alright, well, I'll catch you guys later.